This is the Wytters Public Radio 98.3 Washington Live. Today we invited three judicial executives to speak about some of the most influential cases of the 20th century, the Rodney King cases, otherwise known as Powell versus California and Coon versus USA. Here's Sarah Manning with the outline of the case.
Thank you, Camille. On March 3rd, 1991, 26-year-old Rodney King was pulled from his car after a high-speed chase. He was viciously attacked by three officers who were under the command of Officer Stacy Coon. The three officers who beat King were Lawrence Powell, Ted Brisono, and Tim Wind. The state of California accused Powell and the officers of racism and excessive force.
As shown in the video filmed by George Holliday, King was hit on the face with a baton repeatedly by the officers. The defense attorney argues that the wounds were from falling. The defense attorney also put a boot on the scene to show that the boot wasn't strong enough to do a bruise or even a serious wound. The video was dissected and shown by the defense in a way of supporting their argument that the cops tried to keep King on the ground because it was dangerous and kept trying to get up. The prosecution used the whole video to their advantage and repeatedly stated how the officers allowed King to partially get up and they beat him again. They said Powell got more than 50 blows. Melanie Singer was called to stand. She also cheerfully said, "It's a sight I'll never ever forget." Powell texted later, "I haven't been anywhere this bad in a while." And later asked the prosecutor Terry White about why Powell used the phrase beat him. Powell used the excuse, "Professional police jargon." Mr. White also made fun of Powell, saying Powell's feet must have been frozen if he let King even partially get up. Coon took full responsibility for every blow, and once again said that the officers were trying to cripple King, and that if he stood up, they had to kill him. Stacy Coon makes or breaks his case, said Michael P. Stone, the lawyer of Officer Lawrence M. Powell. "If the jury believes Stacy Coon, we all walk. If the jury doesn't believe Stacy Coon, we all are in trouble."
The mostly white jurors of Simi Valley voted to acquit the officers. However, the public didn't agree. The violence erupted first at the intersection of Florence Boulevard and Normandy Avenue in South Central Los Angeles after the verdict was reached on April 29, 1992, of not guilty. This greatly upset the Los Angeles community. Rioters beat dozens of motorists and blocked the traffic. The police were slow to respond, and eventually the National Guard was deployed at the request of Mayor Tom Bradley. Curfew was also declared. By the next morning, fires burned across the city, more than a dozen people were killed, and hundreds were injured. On May 1st, military troops and riot officers were deployed and brought the city back to control by the end of the day. In total, 55 people were killed, nearly 2,000 were injured, 7,000 were arrested, and almost 4,000 buildings were burned. In total, there was $1 billion in property damage. The media also played a huge role in the King case. Because of the massive amount of media coverage of the incident, the case was moved to Simi Valley in the first place. In fact, CNN had played the video so many times, the entirety of America knew about the incident by the next week. Also, the media coverage of the case made it seem like the prosecution side was right, and the notion was partly what sparked the LA riots.
Later that year, 1992, Bill Clinton had been elected President of the United States. Throughout Clinton's campaign, he promised to get more involved in racial disputes across the nation. The King case was the perfect moment for Clinton. By getting involved, it was sure that he kept his promises, and he maybe even could prevent riots like the one in LA from happening again. Clinton took his chances and officially accused Coon and the officers of violating King's due process rights. Although the jury was again mainly in the second trial, white, they ruled in favor of King and charged all of the officers. The dissenting opinion of the case is that the original ruling was not conducted in a proper and just trial, and the officers deserved to be charged. This led to riots, and ultimately led to the Clinton administration stepping in. As the second verdict was announced, the riots ceased to happen, and all Americans, black or white, had learned to understand their differences and get along as one big country. The Rodney King case was never just a beating, it was a racial dispute, so the lasting effect was much more prolonged. The mostly white jurors of Simi Valley and the fear of riots led to the racial disputes over the mainly black jury in the OJ case as well.
Here at WPR, we agree with the dissenting opinion of the Supreme Court. The officers were excessively cruel and they deserve to be charged.
King's impact affects the way they conduct trials even to this day, and it's important listeners like you learn about Rodney King.
We hope you enjoy your day, and be sure to tune in next time for the special program on Wytters.